Raising her torch of freedom for generations of immigrants, the Statue of Liberty in the harbor is New York's greatest monument. Millions first saw America as they gazed on the skyscrapers from the decks of transatlantic liners. Here in the canyons of Wall Street is the financial center of the nation. Chinatown is renowned for its oriental restaurants and exotic little shops. Quiet old Washington Square marks the beginning of Fifth Avenue. Up the avenue, the Empire State Building, tallest in the world, towers above the crowd of midtown shoppers.
Ever since the conception of America, the American dream has persisted as a primary and essential element of the country. Since the golden age of the American dream in the 1930s and 40s, many have begun to believe that the American dream is not accessible in the country's current state. With greater separation between the people and the government, the American dream has suffered, along with the people hoping to grasp it. This separation is depicted in Jon Krakauer's Into the Wild, when he tells the story of Chris McCandless leaving his family and the law behind in search of his own dreams, showing that he can only accomplish his American dream by ignoring social and economic standards meant to help one towards such dreams. Most American literary works depict similar stories of a fight towards one's goals that seem unachievable, but can be realized through the dedication and perseverance past the obstacles that every goal shall present, allowing one to reach their American dream. So what is your definition of what it means to be an American?
Ooh, that's a great question. I've been thinking about that actually lately because of everything that seems to be going on in the world. And I think it's just pretty simple. Like, we were born here. I have family that wasn't born here that has moved here and has become American. And it's just about a common belief in that everybody can belong and that everyone can work together, and what used to be a way to communicate even when you didn't agree, you could still work towards together for the common good. And I feel that that's a little lost right now, but I feel like that's more what America means to me.
So what is your definition of what it means to be an American?
Ooh, that's tricky. It's tricky because my family is a family of immigrants. So my dad was born in Ireland, in County Louth, which is bordering on the war zone. It wasn't a great place to grow up, really, that I've been able to figure out over time. And for me, being an American means fulfilling your dreams and doing what you are prone to do, what you like to do. And that's what I've been doing for my job since 1994 full time.
So how would you define the American dream?
You know, you're really spoiled when you grow up here, because the American dream is any dream you have. When you grow up somewhere else, the American dream is something that you can't do in your own country. But because I've grown up in America, I think anything I dream is the American dream for me, because I've always had the opportunity to explore everything, never been held back. There's never been a law that said you can't read that book, you can't explore that point of view. So I haven't had to have a dream defined by greater freedom, because I've always had it. But I guess for me, if I was explaining it to somebody that didn't, I would say that the American dream for me is being able to explore the breadth of what you want to do and be, and then live that out to the best of your ability. I know a lot of times people think of it in terms of things, like a house or a this or a that, It's the fact that you could gain all those things in a variety of different ways, and that there's no one way to be successful.
Based on that, do you believe that we are currently living that American dream?
I believe that many Americans are and many aren't.
Would you like to elaborate with the aren't?
The aren't are, well, it's just really hard to be poor in America, and it's really hard to escape poverty, both economically and socially speaking, because if you get used to moving in that particular circle of poverty, that's what you learn, that's what you know. And it's also economically difficult to get out of poverty because the cards are just stacked against you. I mean, you're paying fees and penalties, and you may not have bought a house at the right time, so you get priced out. So it's difficult.
So how would you define the American dream?
Well, I'm probably living it the best possible way anybody could. My grandparents on both sides, so your great grandparents and then just my regular grandparents on my dad's side, were both immigrants, and they came here and with $1 and a dream, and one became very successful on the railroad, and the other one started their business. Neither of them spoke English, so, for them to be able to pass on that dream to the next generation, which then passed it on to me, and now, I consider myself somewhat successful. It's truly a dream.
So how would you define the American dream?
Well, I was raised to believe that meant quite literally I could be anything I wanted to be. And I think that still is the dream. I think people make choices to be here, or make choices while we're living here to, when that's their thought, living the American dream. I don't think everybody thinks that that's what they want. But when that's the thought, it's to be the most successful you can be in whatever it is you're doing.
The concept of the American dream has been the foundation for the country since its conception. Seeking a new life, full of opportunity, is possible for all people, as seen in Joe Rand's ability to grow from an impoverished family to a globally recognized athlete. The American dream is a loose concept, as it has only existed as a social concept, but is generally understood as the ability to have the freedom of choice and the ability to reach a happy and successful life. This American dream is typically incorporated in many people's idea of what it means to be an American, as to them it represents the freedom of a country and the lack of social and political constraints as seen in the interviews. Between the literary texts and the several interviews, what it means to be an American can be conceptualized under a universal desire to reach one's goals and achieve a free life without anyone telling them who they can and cannot be.